We're here, firstoffthebike.com, with a man who has won races all over the world, including that massive second place a couple of seasons ago in Kona. Luke McKenzie, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Mate, thanks too to the beautiful people at the Hilton Hotel here in Cairns, where we're doing this. It's a bit shocking.
Sunny Cairns.
It's a bit ugly
Tropical
out.
North Queensland.
Mate, lots happened in the last couple of years, let's be honest. You know,
Yeah.
You rocketed, not that anyone was surprised by your performance to get to second, because you multiple Ironman winner. I can still recall that 8:07 in Brazil. That was a few seasons back now, which was really, I thought, the coming out party of you and dueling the great Oscar Galindez and getting over him. Since that second place though, what's gone on? Of course, last year wasn't the A scenario.
Yeah, I mean, last year was a disappointment in my eyes. You know, obviously coming here, winning the Ironman in Cairns, going on to Kona, coming second there. You know, that was, a breakthrough season for me. I'd won Ironmans prior to that, but when you perform at the very, very top level of the sport, that you have expectations on yourself to progress from there. And last year, I went after it. I went to the big races. I went to Melbourne. I had some issues there that were beyond control. But I thought, okay, well, I'll refocus for Roth, and it just didn't happen. I went there with high expectations, and that wasn't the case. And 15th in Kona last year, I felt wasn't a bad result. It's the World Championships, and I was still up there and competitive. But having come second the year prior, obviously you feel like that's the place that you belong. So it's made me hungry this year. I haven't raced an Ironman yet since Hawaii last year. Just the mental break was a good thing for me, I think. And coming here back to Cairns, I really love this race, and it's a race that I know that I can win. So I've applied a lot of things that I learnt in 2013, and I've really tried to follow that same progression as 2013, coming back here and ultimately into Kona.
Talking to Chris McCormack about those who have made the jump from second to first, and in the last 12 years, I think the stat is there's only 3 guys who have gone from second one year to first the following. Is it true that the psychology changes though? Once you get into that second place and you sort of get vaulted, do you race differently? Do you train differently? Do you act differently on the course? Are you a different person?
I think it's tough. I think you become a marked man too. I came out a bit behind where I'm usually in the swim in Kona last year, and I was riding with Kinlay early in the first 40 or 50K. And, I noticed, especially with him and myself, no one wanted to make a move. And you had really good cyclists in that group, like TJ Tollickson and James Cunnama, Mikey Twelsick was there, but you noticed that you become marked. And so I think that was something that was quite different for me in Kona, whereas in the past, I've had really good rides there, and I've been able to come off in the lead and up near the lead quite often. But last year, I think, I was a marked man from the go, and Kinlay was the one that was able to, he's used to that position, I think, because he's always chasing. But I think that was something that I learned in Kona last year for sure.
Where's the motivation come from for you? Where do you find your motivation to do this year in, year out? You've been at it a while.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years now, and people ask me that a lot. And obviously now having a family, and I feel like I race more for them now. And I think the early years of my career was really, the sport's very selfish, and you have your own goals and whatever, but I really enjoy being part of the family now, and racing for myself and for Beth and for our daughter Wynn. And I think my family, my mother and father have been a big part of my career, and to come back here and to Kona each year and race for them as well, for the investment they've put into me. They've followed my career ever since I started. They got me into the sport. So I think that's where I find the motivation these days, more so than just for myself.
What has the journey taught you? What has the journey taught you about yourself and about life, and about being someone who's had to put up with spotlight and highs and lows? Yeah,
I think you just nailed it. What I was going to say is, I think you have to learn to ride the highs and lows. You're going to have years where, like 2013 for me was a real high, and something that I'll never forget, and I think something that I can always aspire to in the future. But also you're going to have the lows, and I feel like, obviously I had the birth of my daughter last year, which was a high, but my racing was, not where I wanted it to be, and sort of hit a bit of a low point there. So, obviously you're going to have those highs and lows, so it's about how you deal with them and how you move on and move forward. So that's something that I would say it's taught me in my career.
How do you confront adversity?
Mate, I mean, it's gonna hit you at any point in this sport. You know, there's very few athletes, you know, with the exception of some guys, the freaks like the Jan Fredinos, they just seem to, no matter what sort of adversity they have, they always seem to overcome it, whether it's a bike crash the week of the race or whatever, but he's still there on top. And I think they're the things that, you know, fellow athletes need to learn from as well. You know, I think that, you know, everyone's come here with their story of some sort of adversity, and it's, you know, I think it's character building and really something that people can, you know, really aspire to, you know, to overcome that sort of adversity, because I think in the end everyone's dealing with it, and it's how you deal with it that matters.
Now, we'd be remiss not to ask you about this island house setup that you guys have got going, and the presser came out about a month ago, and it seems pretty exciting. What's in store for this one?
No, I'm excited to get the Island House race off the ground. It's been something that's been in the pipeline and in the back of my mind for a long time. You know, I grew up idolising and watching and just loving the Formula One series back in the day, and it was something that really got me into the sport and excited about the sport. And I feel like that's kind of racing has really sort of been swept under the rug a little bit lately. I think it's time for it to come back, and I've had the support of Mark Holowesko in the Bahamas for the last few years as a sponsor, and we were talking about last year, you know, maybe we should start a team, or you know, we wanted to add some more pro athletes to the roster. And when we were at the Tour de France last year, I said to him, I said, mate, let's run a really good, exciting, quality race, but it's not going to be your stock standard race. It's going to be a bit of a throwback to what was exciting in the sport and different. We don't want to have the same Ironman, half Ironman, Olympic distance. We want something different. And I was just really excited that Mark put, you know, his backing into my vision that I really want to see this racing kick off again. And ultimately, I'd love to see this progress into something more than just one race.
It sounds great. The format's good. It's exciting. I love it too. I mean, I'm a product of that era myself. Luke, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Good luck in the year going forward. We hope to see you on top of the podium on many races coming forward.
Thanks, Phil.